Welcome to La Vida Rosa. I'm your host Pinky, and today I'm going to be talking about Married at First Sight. So if you'd like to see more, then just stay tuned. But before we begin, I would like for everyone to check out my website, lavidarosastyle.com, where you can find cute accessories like the ones I'm wearing right now. The link is down below. Like, comment, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into this video. So the first thing I want to talk about is the couples meeting up together on this episode, and then we'll talk about them individually. So we have Woody and Amani, Olivia and Brett, and Christina and Henry. And they're all sitting down about to eat some crawfish, y'all. I love me some crawfish. OMG, that's what I miss about staying closer to New Orleans. It was so easy to find crawfish boils, like, you know, they were like everywhere. Like if you wanted a crawfish boil, like I'm sure they was having one, especially like during the summer. I miss those times. But anyway, they were, and the crawfish in New Orleans they were there, and everybody looked excited, especially Olivia. Olivia seemed like she was the most excited one about eating crawfish. And then she ended up hyperventilating over the spiciness, like, oh, I'm like, girl, please. I bet it wasn't even that spicy. I think she probably just used to a little bit more bland food. And so a little spiciness got in her throat. She couldn't take it. I was like, come on, Olivia. You was the main one wanting to eat it. You know, they started talking about their individual relationships. Everybody is really happy for Christina and Henry because they seem to have made a lot of progress. Just like we saw them, you know, doing more last week, the couples this week were really like, you know, okay, we see y'all making progress or whatever, especially Woody. I really think Henry needs more male friends because I feel like, you know, it really gave Henry sort of like a ego boost. I know, you know, normally we don't like for people to be egotistical at all, but he needs a little bit of it. He needs a little bit of macho. We don't like it when men have too much, but you need some. And Henry, I was just telling my cousin the other day, Henry just, you know, Karen talks about Miles not being masculine, but Henry is not masculine. And I'm not saying that necessarily makes him feminine, but I just, you know, he needs a little bit of that. I see you and your girl, you know, one of those things from your friends that are guys. Have those conversations with men. Hopefully Woody can be that for Henry. Henry was feeling himself a little bit when he called Christina sexy, you know, during that salsa dancing. And even though he had never said that to her behind the scenes, just the fact that he said it, like, was wow. And I feel like it's because Woody was like, okay, you know what I'm saying? In a manly way, you know. But I was here for it. I'm like, Henry, you need some more male friends to help pull you out of your shell and, you know, help you be a little bit more aggressive. Then she made a weird joke about announcing her pregnancy, and I'm just like, why did you have to ruin the moment like that? I hate when people like fake pregnancies, even as a joke. I don't think that's funny. Yeah, it's not. People get excited for you and then they're not. People get nervous for you and then they're not. That ain't nothing to play with. Some people have fertility issues. So that ain't nothing to, you know, that ain't nothing to play with. To me personally. But then I was thinking, like, can you imagine, like, after all their issues that they had, if she did pop up pregnant? That would be like the plot twist of the century. But we had another plot twist. So Amani pulled Henry to the side and asked about intimacy between the two. I think she was trying to like nudge him a little bit to go ahead and, you know, kind of go there with Christina. I don't even believe they kissed each other yet. He began to talk about the fact that he had a problem with her impatience and how that was a huge turnoff. He basically said, and if it keeps going, like, that's a deal breaker. And honestly, first of all, Henry, I think you told too much of your business. That's rule number one. You don't be telling all y'all marital business, because y'all already had that conversation about her, you know, being off her meds and she's getting back on it. So, you know, in essence, that could have been a lot of why she was being impatient. So you should have waited a little while, let the medicine get to working, and you might see a difference. And all this progress that you made, when it gets back to her, that's probably gonna set y'all back, like pretty much what happened. And so what you need to do to avoid that next time is not tell all your business. That really wasn't none of Amani business. I'm gonna be real. You should have kept it as light as possible. period. Because if it gets back to her, it's gonna get back to her in a jacked up way, and she gonna feel like all the progress that y'all made was a lie. And that's exactly what happened, because when Amani went back and told Christina what happened, Christina felt like she was caught off guard. She's just getting mixed signals from him, and that little side conversation, I feel like that's what threw a wrench in it. So yeah, they're gonna have a discussion later. We'll talk about it when we get to them. So next we saw Karen and Miles and Bennett and Amelia. They're out together, and they just had a short little like ball game. I forgot the name of it, but whoever won each game, you got to choose where your partner would kiss. Like the kiss was the prize, right? And so, you know, Miles kept winning. Miles wants some affection. He wants some love and affection, girl. He was doing his best to win this game. You know what I'm saying? He won about 5 or 10 games trying to get some kisses. So, so she, you know, he got kissed on his temple. He got kissed on his elbow and his kneecap. He just wanted to be loved. You know what I'm saying? Loved on a little bit. He was just cheesing the whole time. And, you know, Karen, she said she did not like PDA, but, you know, thank you, Bennett. Bennett is the reason. He was the perfect wingman. He made the perfect rules for the game for Miles. I feel like they know what's up. Amelia and Bennett know what's up. And they was trying to hook Miles up, and I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, Karen played nice the whole time, so that was cute, I guess. So I'm going to start off with Woody and Amani. We got to see Amani's hair, which she has beautiful, you know, natural hair. And Woody seems to love her hair. It's just nice to see him appreciate her at her natural state. In this episode, we're kind of see them falling into their dynamics of the relationship and get a little bit more, you know, into like their roles in the relationship, in the household, things like that. So it seems like Woody does a lot of the cooking, and maybe Amani takes on some of the other household things. Like she was willing to do his laundry, but not if you throw your clothes all over the floor, if you separate it. I'm just like, Woody, why is your clothes just all over the floor like that? Like, did they talk about doing laundry and he just threw it on the floor, or it was just already there? Because I'm just like, why is his clothes on the floor like that? I mean, even she was like, hold up. Now, you need to separate it and put it in the right piles, because, you know, I ain't gonna be doing all that. You ain't no baby, and I don't blame her on that. And also, they have realized that Amani is an evening person. She's a night owl. She likes to stay up late watching movies and stuff like that. And Woody, he's just so chipper. Like when they showed that clip of him like just grinning and jumping out of bed and just excited, like a brand new day. You know, he's a morning person and Amani isn't. And so they're kind of the opposite in that way. And so I like the fact that he said, you know, they have to maximize the middle of the day because people are different. So I really do like the fact that he was like, yes, so this is the solution. We're going to have to spend more time in the day where we overlap. You know what I'm saying? That was good. I was waiting on the conversations about, you know, what's to come with the whole, you know, lockdown, us locked in the house or whatever. And I was very triggered. I did not expect to be so triggered. Maybe because I didn't know the conversation was coming. Just like when she was saying she had to order hand sanitizer and how the stores were like gone because everybody bought everything up. And, you know, him talking about how, you know, C-19 possibly is just like a really strong flu and will only affect like people that smoke and have lung problems. I remember having a conversation just like that and talking just like that. And it was so triggering to me because I'm like, they don't even know. Like, we didn't even know. And even right now, I'm kind of getting goosebumps because it's like we did not even know what was to come. And our worlds have like completely been shaken up, like completely. And so I didn't expect to get so triggered with them talking about that. But I just remember it wasn't that long ago when things were back like how it was on the show, where they were just able to be out and about. But anyway, Amani brought up the fact that her mother is a smoker, and you know, she didn't get whoopings growing up, but if she were to, like, you know, tell her mother not to smoke or hide her cigarettes, that would be the time where she actually got a whooping, because her mama don't play about that. And Woody was just casually like, well, I got a whooping every day. I was like, you know what, Woody, you look like you got a whooping every day. That's when they had a conversation about punishing their children and will they be whooping their children. First of all, at the beginning of this conversation, I'm just like, Woody, you were trying to have a honeymoon baby and y'all haven't even discussed punishing your kids. Y'all didn't even realize y'all were on two totally different sides of this debate, and you were trying to have a baby. Yeah, I'm so glad that didn't happen. He believes in whooping kids and she doesn't, because she feels like it's corporal punishment. You know, she feels like she turns out fine without getting a whooping. She feels very strongly about not whooping her kids. Woody, on the other hand, he was just like, you know, not all the time, but you know, they might need a whooping every now and then. And but he was talking so much that he ended up saying, you know, the whoopings didn't even do nothing, because you was getting a whooping every single day. And so she took that and she was just basically like, well, you don't have to whoop your students and you still get them to obey. You know, that's against, I'm sure that's against some sort of laws, like definitely against the rules. You ain't supposed to hit the kids, but you know, you still get them to obey without whooping them. And so she was telling him, you know, there are other ways you could discipline your children, and she feels very strongly about whooping. And she said if he wants to whoop the kids, she feels so strongly she'll divorce him. And I'm like, dang, like she ain't trying to budge or bend on that at all. And he is like, you know, I'm giving whoopings, but I really feel like she'll be able to pull him to her side, because he was being convinced, like in that conversation, it wasn't even like he was so hardcore about whoopings. Me personally, I grew up, I didn't get many whoopings when I was a kid. I feel like it's a case-by-case basis. I got 2 whoopings as a child. One I really deserved because I stole from the store, and what my grandmother didn't know at the time is that I had already been stealing. I had already been stealing like little stuff here or there, and then I actually stole something a little bit bigger. I stole a toy, some handcuffs. She didn't want to buy them for me, so I just stuck them in my coat. And so when she found them, I got a whooping. But guess what? I didn't steal no more after that. So, I mean, I don't think that, I don't think it's that bad to whoop your child, but I do think you shouldn't go overboard and whoop your child every day or for every little thing, because that can become like abusive. So I just think every child is different. Maybe some kids might get more whoopings than others because of their behavior, you know, doesn't require them to get whooped. But anyway, like, you know, parent how you want to parent. I don't even have kids yet, so I really don't even know how this is gonna go down once I actually have them. Later on in the episode, they went on a date with each other, and you know, they got dressed up and it was so cute. And Woody, he broke out a real question. He was just like, are you scared by the fact that I said I love you, or do you feel pressure to say it back? And she said mostly no, but she also says yes a little bit because it's so soon, and she doesn't want it to be like, oh, you love fast, that you could fall out of love fast. You know what I'm saying? Also, she kind of feels a little bit pressure to say it back because she doesn't want him to fall out of love with her. She doesn't want him to feel like she doesn't reciprocate, you know, those feelings for him. And also, she just wants to be sure about all of this before, you know, saying I love you. She wants to make sure she means it. She doesn't want to just, you know, say it in return, you know. And I think Woody understands that, but I also think Woody inside thinks, she loved me, she just scared to say it. And then they got to the point in the conversation where Woody was like, well, you know, you can't just leave out of this relationship over, like, you know, one thing. You're gonna have to, like, you know, marriage counseling, work through it. And if it don't work, you're gonna have to do, you know, fill out paperwork, divorce papers. It's not just a simple, like, I don't want to be here, I don't have to be here. And, you know, she was kind of pushing back, like, why can't I? And I think Woody made plenty of sense. Like, marriage is not one of these things where you could just, oh, I got mad at one thing and I'm just going to leave. You know, unless it's something major like, you know, abuse or cheating. I mean, like, you know, small petty things that y'all could get past. I like the fact that they don't mind addressing their, you know, real issues with one another. And yeah, I'm just really hopeful for Woody and Amani. Let's move on to Olivia and Brett. When we first see Olivia and Brett, Olivia just seems to be bothered by Brett a lot of the time. She just, whenever we see Olivia, Brett is doing something to bother her and annoy her. And I think it's coming to a breaking point by the end of this episode, but we'll get to it. So in the morning, she doesn't like waking up super early. She likes to sleep late, so she didn't like the morning routine of getting up and making up the bed. She was even annoyed with him helping her make up the bed. I mean, the bed is tiny. It really didn't, nobody needs help making up that little itty bitty bed. But you know, I think he just wanted to, you know, do something with her. Then he took her to something that he likes to do. He likes to go indoor rock climbing, and you know, she was excited to get out the house, I believe, and spend time with him. So that's great. She embraced his hobby. At one point, he felt like the harness was squeezing him too tight, and he was like, "Ooh, I might not be able to have kids." And she was like, "Oh, that's a good thing." And I'm like, you know what? You know what, Olivia, why don't you just be honest about not wanting kids? Because would nobody make a joke like that if they even slightly wanted kids? You was like, ooh, that's a good thing. What? I wish you would just be honest about that. And then later on, they went to a trivia night with her friends. And, you know, she thought he would enjoy that because he's like, he always liked to spout random knowledge. You could tell Brett is a know-it-all. It wasn't what he expected it to be. And so instead of like embracing it and trying to just play along, which is something I don't like about Brett. Like, even if something is not entertaining or fun to you, if it's something your wife wants to do, why don't you just compromise and at least play along? What Brett doesn't get is this situation that she brought you to was not for you to actually, you know, necessarily have a good time. It's for you to spend time with her friends, get to know them, you know what I'm saying, mingle with people, get out the house. He doesn't get that. It's what's not clicking, Brett? What? I don't get it. Like, how do you not understand that? You go on all these dates with all these women, but you don't understand what a woman wants, what a woman needs. You only catering to yourself. And it's trifling. And I could understand why she's so annoyed by you. You seem to only care about what it is Brett wants and needs. And that just completely, it was so annoying. He was being rude. He was being condescending. The friends were trying to draw him in. You know, just trying to get to know him a little bit. Just have fun. Let go. You act like you're so humorous and like you tell all these jokes, but you get so uptight. I ain't never seen somebody so uptight that acts like he is such a jokester. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to tell you who's really a jokester. Woody. Even if Woody, that's not his, you know, you could tell that's not something that he would normally do. Or his crowd, but he would make the best out of it, talk to people around him. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is so rude and nasty just to act the way he was acting. This is the second time we done seen you do something like this, Brett, on an outing that she planned. And it's just so rude of him to be that way. I did not mean to go on there a long tangent, but it just really, he was just being so snotty, it bothered me. He was even yawning, y'all. So Olivia got so upset. She was over it. She was frustrated and annoyed. So she, because he was low-key being rude to her friends too. And she was just saying how she, you know, the reason why she planned this night in the first place is because she wants to connect her friends with him. And, you know, she's not trying to give up her friends just because she's married. And, you know, he's not even trying at all. And so that's one more reason why I don't think Brett and Olivia's going to make it, because he don't care. He only care about what Brett wants and needs. And that's unfair. Let's go on and talk about Henry and Christina. I'm going to pick up where they left off at the little lunch they had, because Christina was really upset with Henry. And she felt like he hasn't communicated his feelings to her, but he's told, you know, Amani and other people. But she wants for him to communicate with her. You know what I'm saying? The first time she hears a compliment from you should not be from other people. So I can really understand where she was coming from. She confronted him about what he said to Amani. And he said, you know, he's been on his brink before with the impatience and things like that. He's been more willing to, you know, try now that he's been seeing a change. But I also think Henry has a really hard time communicating things. So during this conversation, I don't feel like he's really getting out his true feelings to her, and she's getting frustrated and hyped because he's not really, you know, communicating well what he's trying to say. It was kind of really frustrating to watch. But honestly, I really think that the message of what he was trying to say was getting misconstrued. And I just was hoping, like, really, please don't let this make y'all lose y'all progress, because y'all made some. You know, there's nothing wrong with arguing, but just make sure that y'all are, like, arguing to press forward, not arguing to stay in the same rut over and over. She really feels a way about what Henry did, because apparently she's experienced that in her past, where, you know, the guy makes her feel like they're, you know, on the right track and doing well, and the next thing you know, he's talking about her behind her back. So she was triggered. And I could definitely tell she was really upset about, you know, how that whole situation went. And she was just like, what can I do to make you feel more comfortable to talk to me? Like, to tell me things. And, like, he was trying to explain, but she kept cutting him off. And I'm just like, hey, Christina, you got to let him finish, because he already have a hard time talking. Let him talk before he clam up. And also, don't be so confrontational with your approach, because he'll get flustered and not be able to just keep going. And that kind of like makes you look even more impatient by like talk, tell me what you need. Give him a chance, you know. I forgot how she phrased that, but she was just like, you know, do you see us together? He was like, he doesn't see us together at this point, but he really wants to try. He wants to put in effort. And I can appreciate that Henry is being honest about the situation, at least. Like, he's telling the truth, not just giving her what she wants to hear, but he's being honest. And what I'm gonna need for Henry to do is like tell her these compliments to her face when it's just y'all two. Tell her that the issues that you have with her to her face behind closed doors when it's just y'all two. Because if not, this is gonna keep happening, and that is annoying to hear from someone else that you feel a way about me, your wife. You need to tell me. So I completely understand. I completely understand her point, and it's good because he did apologize at the end for not communicating that to her, and she let him know that that's her deal breaker. You're gonna have to communicate with me before you go around running around telling everybody else our business. And I would have to tell him, and you better keep our business in the house, okay? But you're gonna have to do the same thing, Christina, if you demand that of him. Just know that. So then they had a bowl full of questions, that little activity to get them to, you know, open up a little bit more to one another. They need this. I've been saying that from the beginning. They needed this on the wedding night. So I'm glad they're, you know, doing stuff like this. She says she's scared to lose herself in a relationship because she's done it in the past. And she wants to be able to have fun with her husband and not just things be so, like, tough and hard to deal with all the time. And he says that he does clam up, and she feels like she has to carry the burden of, like, you know, addressing their problems. And he's like, that's how I am. But Henry, you keep saying that's how I am, that's just how I am. I'm gonna need you to work on that. You can't just say, oh, that's how I am. We know that's how you are. I'm glad you are not in denial about it, but now you're gonna have to put in the work to change that, because don't nobody want to be in a relationship with somebody that clams up every time there's some sort of controversy. You have to talk, and you need to work on it. You need to get some counseling, some therapy. Go talk to Miles. He can help you find somebody, because you don't have to grow up. You can't be in a relationship with somebody and you have these major issues you need to work on as well that's keeping you from communicating. One thing he promises Christina, though, is that he will always treat her with respect and he will always put forth an effort. He promised her that. That's a guarantee that he gave her. And that was really nice, you know what I'm saying? I do see Henry treating her with respect. He might give a little snarky comment here or there, but he's never just completely rude. So, you know, I like to see that they're making progress. I don't think they regressed. Hopefully they just keep pushing forward. I still see that glimmer of hope. I know a lot of y'all don't, but I do, and I just hope they can, you know, press past this and make it. Let's move on to Bennett and Amelia. So at the beginning of this episode, Bennett was putting together a chore list, basically, of things that needs to be done around the house. And he asked her, you know, do you think 8 is enough? And then she was like, 8 is too many. I'm just like, Amelia, 8 is not too many. 8 might not even be enough, because, okay, clean the bathrooms, clean the kitchen, clean the floors. That's, you know, sweeping, mopping, possibly vacuuming, take out the trash, wash the dishes, dust the house. That's 8 things right there, and I'm not even done. So yes, 8 things. I knew Amelia was averse to cleaning the house. I already knew it. She just let it out this episode. And Bennett said that he's a stickler for household things. And so he got a whiff of the house being untidy. And, you know what I'm saying, he was just ready to, you know, get this chore list going on. Because I think he was tired of how the house was looking. I'm just still wondering, like, how can you be so clean with the house but then unhygienic? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up, but okay, whatever. So he lays all the different tasks out there, and, you know, I think he put like little menial tasks just to, like, you know, just to make it like fun. Like, here we could do like something light and something heavy. Like, maybe you could pick up, go get the mail, and then pick up, like, you know, clean the bathroom, clean the toilet. And Amelia is picking up all of the ones that are not real tasks to do, like answering difficult phone calls, getting the mail. I'm like, Amelia, stop it. Amelia, stop it. He literally chose all of like the real household duties. And the fact that she didn't pick not one, like not even sweeping the floors or anything like that, that really irritated me. I was like, so you just expect him to do, so you just expect him to clean up after you. Now, I completely understand. She said it. She was like, you know, I'm going to be the breadwinner, so I want you to, you know, take care of the household things. I don't want to have to do that because I'm going to be bringing in all the money. And she's not going to have time and all that. But y'all are not there yet. Y'all are not there. You're not in that program yet. And so for the moment, I thought at least she could participate and actually help clean up around the house. The fact that she wasn't willing to at all was kind of like mind-boggling to me. And she was just laughing the whole time, and I think Bennett was getting real irritated by that. And so he was like, well, should we have a certain day when we do it? And she was like, cross her legs. We'll just do it when we get a mess. And I'm like, once again, dirty feet up on the couch. I cannot. So if that becomes a problem, they'll get to it. I don't even think Bennett will make that a problem. But he made her dinner, and he invited his friends over. His friends with very strange headgear on, by the way. But he invited them over to perform for her. And they actually really sounded really good. They had beautiful voices, but it was just an odd scenery. We already knew Amelia was gonna love it. She was just like, oh, Bennett, I love you. She's so infatuated with him. Later on, they're riding their bike. Once again, they're just so in sync. They're so in tune with one another. They sit down, and he brings up to Amelia, like, what about me irritates you? And so she couldn't think of anything. So he told her one thing about her. The fact that she don't wash the dishes good. You only wash the inside of the glass, but not the outside. Amelia, you have to wash the outside of the glass. People's lips touch the outside. Like, people's hands touch the outside. That's a part of washing, girl. Of course. I bet you probably don't want to wash the under part of the plate too. Like, what? That didn't make any sense to me. So once he told her something, he wanted her to reciprocate and tell him something about him that bothers her. Literally, he brought up pretty much every annoying thing that he's heard about himself before. She doesn't care. She just loves everything about Bennett. And like I said before, she just like overly infatuated with him right now. And he's concerned that she's too unconditionally enamored. He was like, you can't possibly be this tolerant. You know what I'm saying? There has to be something that you don't like about me. And she did say that, you know, she did say in her confessional that, you know, she doesn't want to get hung up on the small things. Bennett knows that his relationships failed in the past because he adored the idea of someone and not truly knowing them. It's like he placed them so high on a pedestal, they were not able to, you know, be that person because that's not who they were. He liked the idea of them. You don't really give them a chance or the room to make mistakes or be themselves because you just have this idea of who they are. They can't really, you know what I'm saying? How you gonna really get to know me and you already have an idea of who you think I am already? He's just like, we got to get to that real. And I totally agree. Like, I've been in that same situation where I placed someone up on a pedestal, and I've been placed up on a pedestal. And that's the worst place to be, because it's like, you know, you get so disappointed when I'm not who you thought I was, when I never claimed to be that person. You said I was. I never proclaimed to be perfect the way you think I am in your mind. And so, like I said, I've been on both sides, and it never works when you do that. Hopefully, Amelia can snap out of it, because their relationship can't work if she continues to think that way. I just don't see it being able to work, even as in tune as they are. You have to be real about the things about him that you don't like. You have to. So hopefully they'll get to that point. So let's move on to Miles and Karen. So Karen did not come home, and I'm just like, what? What? You didn't come home? Now, it's one thing to be upset. It's one thing to, you know what I'm saying, for Miles to cross a boundary, like you said, and for you to be upset about that, regardless of whether I think it's stupid or not. That's your boundary that you're setting. And so if you felt a way about that, you know, fine. But for you not to come home, and you not even let him know you're not coming home, that's trifling. That's just completely trifling. I'm sorry. Y'all have an extra bedroom. So if you were really that mad at him, you should have sent him to that other room, or you go to the other room. But there's no way that you should have been staying at your apartment. And it makes me think you just could not wait to spend one night back at your place. Like, you needed a break from this situation. And you're not supposed to get breaks from your marriage like that. Especially not in the beginning. Like, that's crazy that she didn't even come home. And he was just really, like, you could tell he was shook. He was upset. Real upset. I thought it looked like he had been crying, to me, personally. It looked like he had been crying for real. So, I just, you know, it's not cool, because if the roles were reversed and Miles did something like that, you know she would have went off about that. So she said the reason why she got so upset is because she was just like, where's all this sex talk coming from? And it's like, girl, y'all married. That's where it's coming from. That's always a conversation that should be able to be had. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that you have to give it up. I'm not saying that at all. Even if they don't sleep together during this entire 8 weeks of this experiment, I don't judge her for that. A lot of people in this have done that. Jamie and Doug did that, and look at them now. They have 2 kids. So obviously that has changed with them. You know what I'm saying? If you're not ready, you own your body. You don't have to give it up just because that's your husband. But I don't understand why you can't have a simple conversation about it as 2 grown adults in a relationship, married, mind you. You know what I'm saying? Him just bringing up the conversation makes her question his intentions and whether he's actually patient with her. Just because he want to have a conversation about it. Clearly, Miles was joking when he wrote on that calendar, on this day I'm having sex with my wife. That was clearly a joke. And you wanted him to be, you know, like aggressive and, you know, like give you a kiss. I think in this situation, Miles was, you know, being aggressive with the conversation. I don't think he was trying to be aggressive, like, and jump on her. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, this reaction, this huge reaction, is the reason why he is so, you know, touch and go with you. Is the reason why he is tiptoeing around you. That's the reason why he isn't gonna go there with you, because you jump to these major conclusions when he tries to move your relationship forward just a little bit. So when she finally came home, she sat him down and she said she was really mad at him for what he did. He crossed the boundary. She didn't sleep the whole night because she was so upset. And Miles was just sitting there looking like a little kid in trouble, like, I'm sorry. That's the way he was looking. And then she said she felt unsafe. And I'm just like, I just didn't like the fact that she used the word unsafe, because it denotes that Miles would have done something unforgivable, unspeakable to his wife. It makes it seem like he possibly, you know, would have came in Tuesday morning like, ooga booga, you about to give me some. And I think you already said that Miles has been beyond respectful. And so I think you know that you saying you felt unsafe, that's a little bit way too much. Way too much. That was the wrong word to use. Cross a boundary is one thing, but unsafe, that just it denotes something else. It denotes predatory behavior, and that is so unfair to put on Miles. That is so on Miles. That was so wrong. I did not like that. And you know, obviously immediately he's like apologetic and, you know, doesn't want to press the issue any further, because when someone says you make them feel unsafe, if you even try to press back on that a little bit, it makes you, it kind of falls into the category you're trying to put them in. So he had no choice. I mean, I'm sure he really was apologetic, but he kind of had no choice. And he, you know, he felt like he betrayed her trust, so he's going to try to earn it back. And I'm just like, I just didn't like the way that situation went. I didn't like the implied character assassination. I don't know. I didn't like it. And she forgave him super quick. So I'm just like, if you felt that unsafe, if you truly felt that unsafe, you forgave him very fast, and then immediately right after that you said you're gonna be trying to like show more affection. If I felt unsafe with someone, I wouldn't feel like I had to make up for it. Like, I feel like all of that was a cop out for her leaving last night. I really do. I feel like it was, all of that was a huge cop out,
because she knew she was wrong for not coming home last night.
So Woody and Miles went to the barbershop together, and they haven't really spent much time together since the honeymoon. So this is their time to catch up at the barbershop. First of all, Woody needed this haircut. As much as you talking about Amani's hair, you need to work on yours, honey. Thank you for getting this haircut. Anyway, because he claimed he's so into looks, and I'm just like, you took this long to get a haircut? So they both were very shocked that Woody has already professed his love for Amani. Miles said he's never heard him say that about any woman. So this seems like it's like the real deal with Woody and Amani. Miles was basically telling Woody like he could never tell Karen that, because she is just so frigid. She would just probably like leave. And Woody was like, what? Why would she react that way? Like, what do you mean? And so Miles told him about her not coming home. And Woody was basically like, what? Like, how dare she not come home? Like, Woody was saying a lot with his face without saying it with his words. I think he wasn't trying to like overstep his boundaries with like saying anything about Karen, but you could see it all in his face like, what? That don't sound right. So it turns out Miles was actually really mad that Karen didn't come home. He said that she would have been really upset if the tables were turned and he didn't come home. I totally agree. And I feel like I wish he would have told her that, but I also see where he's coming from. Like, if she's saying I feel unsafe, how is he gonna turn around and be like, well, I'm mad you didn't come home? You know what I'm saying? It would have made him look bad. And I hate the position that he put her in with that. I just can't stand that she did that. She really was acting like a Karen. Woody said he wouldn't even care. He would have towed that phone up. That phone would have been blew up, baby. He would have blew Amani phone up. And I'm just like, Woody, I would have blew her up as well. Woody asked him, he was like, well, you know, do you think she likes you? Because her behavior is not showing that she does. So Woody asked the question that, you know, the pressing question that anybody would ask. And Miles was like, no. He like immediately defended her. He's still very protective over Karen. He was like, no, she's just hurt from past relationships. And, you know, she's not trying to get hurt again. And she's dictating the pace because of it. And it was just like, it was so sad to watch him have this conversation with Woody, because in a way it just seems like he's in denial and he don't know his own worth, that he shouldn't have to deal with this sort of behavior. If the roles were reversed, if Karen was a man treating Miles this way, not coming home and, you know, not having an answer for it, really, it would be a huge deal. He's right. Karen knows she messed up, I feel like, because she went out of her way to set up a yoga date for them. and you know, basically, you know, she massaged his whole body, including his feet, child. I was like, she had to start with the feet. I'm glad she did. Miles deserved a nice little foot rub. But for me, child, y'all know how I feel about feet and toes. I would have been like, we need to skip to the next step. Because I would have been hyperventilating. I don't like it. I don't like it. Miles was in heaven. He was so relaxed. And you know, I can't even lie. I was happy to see him happy because he really did seem like he was on cloud 9 with her, you know, just putting in some work that she needed to put in. You know, this was some effort that I feel like Karen should have been put in. So, you know, it's good that she did it, but it's kind of like, girl, it's bare minimum. It's time for you to really step it up. For real. You should have been did this. Especially after what you just did this episode. Miles deserved above and beyond. And yeah, I didn't really go as hard as I wanted to, y'all, because I still want this relationship to be successful for whatever reason. I feel like it will be, but I feel like Karen has to give more. She just has to. Miles deserves it, and everybody can see that. Anyway, y'all let me know how y'all feel down below. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? I would love to hear your opinion. I also want y'all to check out my last video that I posted. I did some unpopular opinions about your favorite Black sitcoms. So I want y'all to check out that video. I'll link it down in the comments. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace.